Hi, this is Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about Ulyain village, specifically the upstart, the bride, and the bridegroom. All right, so the the player characters are in the village, and they are, and they're going about their day, just kind of enjoying the day, and the entire day goes without incident, and the player characters can do whatever they choose during that day, right? As they're waiting, right? Because this is a waiting period while they're waiting until the harvest of the Ulyain village comes out 23 days later, right? And they're somewhere within that period, right? So what happens is that night when all the villagers eat together, okay? They don't eat all their meals together, but at the evening time, they all gather together for an evening meal, okay? And Matron Arlel, what she does is she's much older. She's the leader of the village, and so she doesn't do a lot of cooking anymore. But she always takes care of the spices. Whenever the stew's been created, she'll come over and she puts the spices in. Okay, so everybody sits down. They all have their stew. Everyone is enjoying. They're all telling tales of the day. When all of a sudden, this upstart young man, he is a hunter within the village. He says, "Oh, normally there's a lot of kick in this stew, but it's so bland and tasteless today," right? Everybody kind of looks up because it's a very unusual statement, right? And at that point, no one's saying something, but then the bridegroom says, he laughs, and he says, "Oh, yeah," he says, your taste buds," he says, are as poor for finding the mark as your slinging, right? His ability to take down ranged hunted targets with his sling. That's the primary ranged weapon of the Ulyain people are slings with stones, right? And so everybody laughs, right? But then the upstart looks over at the bridegroom, okay? And this is a young man who at this point is slated to be married 3 days before all of the harvest is sold on the river and shipped down. The harvest is getting gathered every day right now by the Ulyain villagers, and 23 days from now it'll be sold and it'll be shipped upriver. It's the rufra fruit. Okay, so at that point, what happens is the villagers, right? So this bridegroom, he actually says, "Hey, sorry." So the bridegroom, he says, "Listen," he insults the bridegroom insults the upstart, and then he looks over at his bride and just kind of smiles at her, right? And all the villagers know there's a problem right now, and the upstart immediately stands up, throws his bowl onto the ground, stew splashes over a bunch of people, right? And he goes, "How dare you?" He says, "Question my ability to hunt." He says, "You may be right now working with the village elders to find a way to squeeze more juice from the rufra fruit, and everybody gives you deference because you're working hard to find a way to get more from the fruit we harvest. Well, guess what? No more deference from me." And he gets very angry, and the upstart says, "That's it." He says, "In 7 days, as per the tradition of our village," he says, "I shall see you at the root circle," right? So he challenges him, right? And there's a big gasp from the entire village, okay? And all of a sudden, nobody's eating stew anymore. Everybody's upset, and the upstart, rushes off, right? And about 4 or 5 of his hunter buddies rush off with him, right? And so the player characters can see that the entire village is upset now, right? Now, basically what is going to happen at this point, that's the entire event for this evening, okay? For this day, right? But over the next few days, or that very evening, depending on the pace of the players, and if the players choose to engage with this choice, with this decision point, here are the things that they will find out. So if they ask among the villagers, they will find out that the root circle this is a tradition among the Ulyain, and whenever they come to a point where two young men are fighting, or actually any of the villagers are fighting, and they wish to solve that problem in a physical way, rather than we're going to get to weapons in the Ulyain. The Ulyain have a very different relationship to weapons. Okay, so what happens is they have to they settle it at the root circle, and the root circle is a stylized battle that is used by the Ulyain to take care of any type of physical conflict. Okay, and when someone is defeated within the root circle, okay, it is a great amount of shame, and that person will then just go into the forest for a month, okay, because they're so shamed they can't show themselves, right? And then and then the other person just gets to laud it, like walk around the village like a big, like a big person, and then that other person returns a month later, and at that point it's also tradition, all is forgiven, and those two people should be friends again. Okay. Now the problem here is clearly if the upstart defeats the bridegroom, then that is going to shut down his wedding. And the way these people live, when when they have been planning an event, it will really break up the wedding altogether, right? They love one another, but this group of people, these villagers, they believe that if someone is shamed and sent off, right? Now when they come back, but still, they have been planning for this wedding for months. They're not the type of people that just push it off. They believe that fate has said that event should not occur, and it will not occur. And then that young lady will find a new, someone new to marry, and the young man will, find, who knows, right? He probably, who knows what's going to happen with him. But overall, the entire village is upset because they believe if the upstart wins, then that will 100% end the marriage proposal. And a lot of the villagers are really excited about this for a few reasons. One, the bride and the bridegroom have been in love for a long time. And this is something that the whole village has been looking forward to. And different people in the village have really been working hard to make the wedding special, right? And so there's a lot on the line for them here, okay? Because they feel that the marriage of these two people aids the entire village. Now, the villagers will also say that this young upstart, he is an extremely angry young man, but he is an incredibly talented hunter, but he has bad ranged skills. So what the bridegroom said was 100% true. He can't hit anything ranged, but he's super fast. He really drives all the training for all of the rest of the hunters within the village, makes them stronger and faster, and he can hunt boar with his own bare hands and kill boar with his own bare hands. It's what he's known for, right? And so he has a lot of respect within the village for this distinct ability that he has. So the player characters now have a decision, okay? One, at this point, do they be if there's anyone in the party who does not have any magic, right? So that means a barbarian, a fighter, someone whose primary skills comes from the martial source, okay? So fighter, barbarian, maybe rogue. Actually, no, they have spells. Any player character that cannot cast spells has enough martial prowess to train the bridegroom and get him on equal footing. So on the day of the match, it will be a 50-50. And essentially on the day of the match, the game master can control this anyway. The way I would propose is if one of the player characters who does not cast spells works with that bridegroom every day for 7 days, then they can get him to 50% chance of defeating the Ulyain fighter. Otherwise, it is a 90-10 roll, 90% chance that the Ulyain hunter, the upstart, will win. And also, that roll, of course, will be completely public. So, the game masters really won't know what's going to happen or how that will affect the village. And there'll be tension when that roll is rolled right there, and that's a decision point for the players. And that is the Ulyain upstart, bridegroom, and bride. Thank you.